Water restrictions start up this.
Today, Governor Jerry Brown urged Californians to take short showers.
Lake Mead is expected to drop at least another 20 feet this year.
Wildfires in the west are tearing through homes and forcing people out of their neighborhoods.
That could trigger automatic cuts to the water supply.
This morning, Denver Water formally declared a stage 2 drought.
Photos show the Colorado River, which feeds Lake Mead, is drying up.
It's been known from the beginning of the settlement of the West, ever since John Wesley Powell. Powell saw at the very beginning, water is going to be the story of the West, and as we see today, it's always been the big problem in the West. I mean, all our Western water is over-allocated. There is much more water guaranteed to different stakeholders than there exists. It's an intractable problem. We continue to grow, we continue to hope that salvation will come from someplace else. Somehow we'll find more water. So we finally have come up against the reality that we won't have enough water. Mark Reisner, who wrote a wonderful book on this, The Cadillac Desert, describes this as the 20th century as the hydraulic century, the age of dams. And there was this tremendous construction of dams across the country. Coming out of the war, we entered this phase of this bulldozer phase, where there was just this construction everywhere. It was sort of the ethic of the time. You don't go at government too hard, and industry is so wonderful. Why would we go against the dam builders? Then there was this turnaround. Wait a minute, we're harnessing rivers, but we're killing these rivers. And suddenly people began to realize, thanks to people like my father, wait a minute, this is going too fast, and we're destroying too much in this process. My father was totally dedicated to his movement. He's a guy who ate and slept environmentalism. In one of the earliest trips in 1952, which was the same year he took charge of the Sierra Club, he was already aiming towards rivers. And the issue in Congress was the whole Colorado River Storage Project. There was a number of dams in it. So it was a question of trying to decide the shape of the final Colorado River Storage Project. How many dams did you want in it? One of the big problems for my father and the other people fighting against the dams in Dinosaur National Monument was to just get this place known. And because he was really only the first full-time employee, except for a secretary of the Sierra Club, he had to do everything. He had to write copy. He was the editor of the Sierra Club Bulletin. He learned how to lobby. He was their sort of in-house photographer. He became a filmmaker. And we as kids got drafted into duty as little models. We would grumble about it sometimes. We would say, God, we have to do this take again. My brother and I, in our little plaid shirts that everybody wore in those days, had walk across this stretch of desert again, and it wasn't quite right. Would you go back and walk it again? Well, when you're 6 and 7 and 8, you get pissed off. You say, God, I'm not going to do this again. But now we're very proud. We see ourselves in those films and we say, good on for us. You know, we were part of the cause. If people don't know about a place, and if people don't learn to care about it and write their congressman about it and love it, then it's gone, because the extractive industry will get it. The miners will get it, the dam builders will get it, the loggers will get it, unless the place has a constituency. So my father's problem was to build a constituency for the place, and he did that really by designing this sort of prototypic conservation campaign as we know it today. He commissioned a book. He got Wallace Stegner to edit a book on it. He helped Charles Eggert make a film on it. There were slideshows that toured the country. He got articles written on it. He did grassroots organizing in the West, but also lobbying in the East, in Washington. And then the final thing he did was to bring people down the river. He took many Sierra Club trips down just so people would get to know what's there, so that some articulate people with some connections, which Sierra Club crowd was, could begin to say, wait, there's something here that's important. Nobody thought you could beat something like this dam, and they beat it. And it just changed their way of thinking about things. You just got to remember what those victories ushered in, the era of all this good environmental legislation. We've never seen anything like it since. Wild and Scenic Rivers Act, Wilderness Act, Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Endangered Species Act. All these things that came in the 60s that so changed the landscape were followed right on that victory. It's funny what happens, as a young man, you tend to want to pull away from your parents, or to, what did Mark Twain say? When I was 14, I thought my dad was the stupidest guy on the face of the earth. By the time I was 20, I was amazed at how much he had learned. I always knew my father was special, and I always admired him, and he was always a hero. But actually, after his death, it's grown for me. I thought more clearly about him with the advantage of retrospect, and also I think he's the kind of guy this movement needs again, because there will always be threats of dams. My father used to say, you can defeat this dam, but the dam site it will always be there down in the canyon. And it's change of administration, change in the culture, they can build the dam again. So you have to keep the process up. You can never stop. This oars trip and the river trip made me realize that this dynamic is still there. People go down the river, they fall in love with it, and they want to save rivers. It's exactly what the dynamic that was there in the beginning. And that's, very moving and encouraging to me. And just to go back and see the place again, it was very poignant for me. I'd forgotten what a beautiful canyon it was. And I guess the moment for me was to go to the test hole where the dam site was going to be. We pulled out of the river, and I gave my little talk in the river bar about what I thought the history of this whole battle over Dinosaur was, and I looked at that hole, the test hole, and I said, I was proud of my dad. I said, well, good for you, and all your buddies, good for you. I mean, all this experience we had was going to be gone. All this stuff we saw upriver was going to be under 400 and 500 feet of water. So, thank you, Dad. You did a good job.
Thought you ever had, which one would you want to see? 'Cause if I